Hey guys, so today's video is going to be totally different. In a previous video I told you guys that I had started a real estate investment company, and that's what today's video is going to be about. So if you're interested in learning how to invest in real estate, then this video is for you. So grab a pen and a notebook and get ready to take down some notes, okay? So I'll be looking back and forth between my screen because I have my laptop set up with my notes on there so that I can cover everything. All right, so what I'm going to teach you today is just going to be the basics, and this is a way that a lot of people have started getting into real estate investing. All right, and the reason a lot of people do it this route that I'm about to teach you is because you're not going to use any of your own money or your credit to do it. Okay, I know it sounds too good to be true, but it's not, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Okay, so this route of going into real estate investing is called wholesaling. Some of you may have heard of it and some of you may have not heard of it before, all right? And that's why I'm here. I'm here to teach you what it is. Okay, so wholesaling. What is a wholesaler? So just to keep it simple, a wholesaler is pretty much going to be the middleman between a seller and a buyer, all right? You're gonna connect these two people to get a property sold, all right? So I'll give you all a scenario so that you know to get the wheels spinning, so when I'm explaining it, it should make more sense to you. Okay, so let's say I have a wholesaler. All right, we'll name this wholesaler Jacob. Okay, we'll say his name is Jacob. All right, so Jacob receives a phone call one day, and it's someone trying to sell their house. All right, so we're gonna name the seller, we'll name her Grace. All right, so Grace calls Jacob and she says, hey, I have this property that I'm trying to sell. It's in pretty bad condition. I decided not to go through a real estate agent for whatever reason, and I know that you're a wholesaler and I want to know if you can get this property sold for me. All right, so Jacob, as the wholesaler, he's going to ask her information about the house, try to calculate how much you think repair costs would be on it, and then he's going to make her offer. All right, so he decides he'll offer her $50,000 for this house. All right, so she agrees and she says, okay, I'll sell you this house for $50,000. All right, so now Jacob and Grace, they're gonna sign a contract together, right? The contract is saying that Jacob will be buying this house from her for $50,000. All right, now Jacob is a wholesaler, so he's not going to actually be the one buying the house. Okay, Jacob luckily has a real estate investor friend. All right, so we'll name his friend, we'll name him Mark. Okay, so Jacob calls Mark and he says, hey, you know, I got this really good deal on this property and the seller is trying to sell it for $55,000. All right, so Mark goes, he does his due diligence on this property, and he realized, like, okay, this is a good investment, I can make some money off of this. So he agrees to buy this property for $55,000. Okay, now keep in mind that Jacob just said he would buy it for $50,000, all right? But now he's going to assign his contract, meaning he's gonna give his contract to Mark for $55,000, okay? So right there, Jacob, by connecting these two people, he's able to make an assignment fee of $5,000, okay? So I hope that makes sense to you. I hope it got your wheels spinning. Okay, so all right, now they decide it's a good deal, so they take it to the closing table, they close on it. All right, so the seller's happy because she got rid of this property. The buyer is happy because now he has a property to invest in to make some money, and our wholesaler is happy because he just made $5,000 by simply connecting two people together to get a property sold. All right, that's basically what wholesaling is. And that's how you do it without using any of your own money or your credit. All right, so let's go a little step further. How do you know a good deal? All right, all deals aren't good. All right, so in wholesale, we use this thing called a 70% rule. All right, so the 70% rule is pretty much also in wholesaling and real estate in general, there are a lot of acronyms. Okay, so with the 70% rule, all right, you don't want to pay more than 70% of the ARV of a house, all right? And ARV stands for after repair value. You don't want to pay over 70%, all right? So if you got a pen or a calculator, you can just write this down, okay? So keep it simple. We'll say the after repair value of a house is going to be $100,000. Okay, so what you're going to do is you'll put in $100,000, and then you're going to multiply that by 0.7. All right, so when you multiply that by 0.7, that should give you $70,000. All right, now what you're going to do with that $70,000 is you're going to subtract the repair cost. All right, the repair cost is the amount it's going to take to get this house fixed up so that you can sell it for $100,000, right? How much it's gonna take to renovate this property, all right? So if you subtract $20,000 from $70,000, you're gonna get $50,000, all right? So $50,000 is going to be your MAO, and MAO stands for maximum allowable offer. That means that's the highest you're willing to go to buy a property from someone, okay? Now, of course, you know that when it's time to negotiate with the seller, you don't want to go straight to them and say, hey, I'll buy this property for $50,000. That's not how negotiating works, okay? You want to start low, all right? You want to start so low to where the seller is going to be looking at you like you are crazy, all right? So let's say you know it's going to be $50,000. That's your MAO, all right? $50,000. When you talk to the seller, and you get all the information on this house, you will say, okay, I'll make an offer, all right? And you will just say, hey, I'll buy this house for $15,000. 9 times out of 10, that seller's gonna say, no, that's too low, and that's okay, all right? So they're probably gonna counter offer you. So just be prepared for counter offers, all right? So if they counter offer you and she says, well, okay, how about $45,000? That's still a little too high for you, so you counter offering with her, all right? So you guys finally agree on a number. Their number's gonna be $25,000, all right? So this person has agreed to sell you their house for $25,000. Now you know that once it's repaired, it's gonna be worth and it can be sold for $100,000, okay? Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna call your investor friend, the person who is actually buying these houses for cash, all right, with cash. So you're gonna call your investor friend, all right? You're gonna say, hey, I got this deal, you know, XYZ, and you're gonna tell them that the person is trying to sell this house for $40,000, okay? Let's say $40,000. So the investor looks over, he says, hey, it's a good deal. I would like to get this property. All right, so now that contract that you signed with that person saying you're gonna buy for $25,000, you're gonna take it to that investor and you're gonna sign it to him saying that he's gonna be buying this house for $40,000. All right, now you've just made your profit right there, okay? That difference right there. So you put it on the contract for $25,000, you sold it for $40,000, you just made $15,000, all right? So now once that's done, it goes to the closing table. The seller gets their money, the buyer gets the house, and then you get your assignment fee of $15,000. All right, and that's just how simple it is. Okay. All right. So let's see. All right. So how do you well, actually, let's go to some steps, okay? Now, when you're doing this, you need to know what you're doing, where you're buying houses at. Is it a good area, okay? And that leads me to analyzing your market. So when you're trying to purchase a house or wholesale in an area, you want to make sure it's a good area. You want to make sure that people are actually buying properties in that area, okay? You don't want to go out in the middle of nowhere and try to get a property, do wholesale deal with the property, because 9 times out of 10, that property is not going to be able to get sold and investors are not going to be interested in it, okay? So you want to find these hot markets, okay? I'm gonna analyze your market. All right, also, it's always good to have a real estate agent. Now, you don't have to have a real estate agent on your team, but it can be helpful to have one to help you out, okay? Give you access to an MLS, let you know some properties that they may know that's available, all right? Now, a thing that I do want to mention, you don't want to get a property that's already on the market. You want to look for off-market properties, okay? So meaning you don't want to go to Zillow or Realtor.com and look for properties that's for sale on there, all right? You want to try to find properties that are off the market, that are not actually under contract already, all right? So, third thing, a contractor, all right? If you don't already have a background in construction, or you're not able to go into a property and be able to look and say, okay, this is gonna cost this much to get repaired, this is gonna cost this much, take a contractor with you, okay? Someone who is experienced and who can go in there and actually do that for you, all right? It's very important, so they'll be able to help you estimate a repair cost for when you are trying to see if a deal is going to be good or not. All right, remember, it takes you back to that formula. You have to subtract the subtract the repair value or the repair cost from the after repair value. Okay, you're subtracting the repair cost from the after repair value. Okay, so you need to have a pretty accurate repair cost. All right. All right, marketing. All right, so as with any business, you need to have a great marketing plan. All right, so with investing in real estate, all right, market yourself. All right, you can go on social media and do it for free. Go on your Facebook or your Instagram and post some properties that you're trying to get sold. Go on there and let people know, hey, you are a wholesaler in this area. You're a real estate investor in this area. Let people know what you do. Okay, put yourself out there. Also, get some business cards. All right, this is your business. All right, and you want to look professional as possible. All right, when you're talking to someone, you want them to think that you are professional and you know what you're doing. You don't want them to think, hey, who's this crazy person trying to buy my house from me or whatever. Just look professional. Get you some business cards. Okay. Also, join a real estate investors group. All right, usually they'll have like meetings and conferences and stuff like that. Attend those meetings, attend those conferences. All right, there you're going to network. Okay, it's all about who you know. When you go to these different events, take your business cards with you. Okay, go talk to some of these investors, these cash buyers. Okay, talk to them, let them know, hey, I'm a wholesaler in this area. Here's my business card. I'm at some properties you're interested in. Get their contact information. All right, and that's going to lead me to my next thing. Create a buyers list, a cash buyers list. These are going to be the people who you're going to be assigning your contracts to. All right, once you get it under contract with that seller, now you need someone to buy it. You've already generated a list of cash buyers. All right, so with me, I already have a list of emails and phone numbers of cash buyers in my area, where when I have something under contract, I can give them a call and say, hey, I have this property at this address, see if they're interested in it. Okay, it's just going to help you to close your deals faster, make for smoother transactions. Okay, so create a cash buyers list. All right, let's see. Also, make yourself marketable to these investors, and that's what I'm saying. When you go to meetings, or if you're at a closing and there are other investors there, hand out your business cards. Okay, just make yourself marketable, put yourself out there. Let's see. Also, speaking of closings, okay, all title companies. So when you are closing your deals, you're going to do them through a title company. All right, keep in mind that all title companies are not investor or wholesaler friendly. All right, a lot of them aren't. So before you go to a title company to try to schedule closing, call them and ask them, hey, do you close wholesale deals? Okay, make sure that they do. And if you do, you find a good title company that does that, that's the one that you need to go with. All right, they're going to be your best friend. Okay, so how do you find the people who are trying to sell their houses? All right, so you want to look for motivated sellers. Okay, so let's say, what is a motivated seller? All right, a motivated seller is, let's say you're out and you're driving for dollars. Okay, so driving for dollars is just a mode of trying to find these properties. All right, and that just simply means you get in your car, you drive around the city, and then you look for properties that may have like overgrown grass or boarded up windows, something that looks vacant and abandoned, like no one lives there. Okay, you want to get the information, the contact information to whoever owns the house. Right, give them a phone call and say, hey, I seen this property at this address. I was calling to see if you're trying to sell it. Okay, a lot of times those are going to be motivated sellers. Okay, there's someone who isn't keeping up with this house. Now if you call them, they may be not even living in that city anymore, and they simply don't have time to come down there and take care of this property. Those would be motivated sellers. Other motivated sellers could be someone who was left the house. Okay, say that someone's great grandmother died and she left her house to her granddaughter, and she already has a house and she just doesn't have time to go over there, or she just simply doesn't want that house. Okay, those would be motivated sellers. The reason you should look for motivated sellers is because most of the time you can get these properties for a very, very discounted price, okay? And that's what you want, okay? The more of a discount, the more profit that you can make. Okay, so different modes of finding properties. So I already told you about driving for dollars, okay? You're driving around, you're looking for properties that look like they may be abandoned or vacant, all right? Pre-foreclosures. So you can wholesale pre-foreclosures. Those are could be a little touchy, because keep in mind that someone is currently in a situation where they could possibly be losing their home, okay? So what you want to do with pre-foreclosures, you contact those owners. You want to let them know hey, that you're here to help. You're not trying to take advantage of them. Let them know that if you can get their property sold, that can help them avoid foreclosure, and they can save their credit, all right? So, I mean, you can do those, but just make sure that you're more sensitive with trying to wholesale on pre-foreclosures, okay? They can be embarrassed if they're in that situation, all right? So just keep those things in mind when you're trying to do it that way. All right, FSBO. So FSBO properties are for sale by owner. All right, so these are the properties that the owner is trying to sell themselves. All right, for whatever reason they decided not to go with a real estate agent, and it could be because they don't want to pay the realtor fees or whatever. Right? Call those people. You will see those signs in the yard that says for sale by owner. And most of the time they're gonna have the phone number on there, which makes it easier for you, okay? You can just call them and say, you know, hey, I'm an investor in the area, I'm interested in this property, or I can get this property sold for you with no realtor fees, and then they may be willing to work with you on that, okay? And you can make that a wholesale deal if that deal makes sense. All right, cold calling. All right, so cold calling is pretty much, you will generate a list of properties that you're interested in, and you'll get the contact information. All right, you get the contact to these owners of these properties. All right, and then you just get on the phone and you're gonna be calling them. Okay, hey, I'm such and such, or I work for such and such, and I'm interested in your property at 123 Memory Lane. Okay, now when it gets to cold calling or calling these owners in general, okay, the first thing that you want to do, all right, for one, you want to sound professional. You want to sound like you know what you're talking about, okay? You also want to build rapport with them, okay? You want to get them listening to you, and you want to get them liking you, all right? So find common interests, okay? I don't care if they just, you know, the first 5 minutes they want to sit there and talk about their dog, okay? Talk about your dog. If you don't have a dog, make up a dog, okay? You see what I'm saying? Just build a relationship with them, all right? And when you're on there, you know, and you're asking questions, because when you're on the phone, like I said, you want to get as much information on this property as possible, okay? You want to ask them, is there still a mortgage on the house, okay? That's going to play a role in your deal to see if that deal is going to make sense, because that mortgage will have to be cleared, of course, right? You also want to ask, are there any liens against the house? Whether there are property tax liens placed on the house from the IRS. These are things that you need to know, all right? You want to ask them the condition of the roof. When's the last time the roof was repaired? Ask them about electrical wiring, plumbing, HVAC, the foundation of the house. All right, you want to get all of these details. You want to get the specs of the house, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, square footage of it. All right, you want to ask all these questions, but when asking these questions, you don't want it to sound like an interrogation. All right, you don't want to be on there like, okay, when you did this, house of roof, house of plumbing, house this. You don't want to do that. Keep it going in a conversation, okay? Don't make it sound like an interrogation. You'll probably scare them off, all right? And like I said, have your information together. You don't want to get on the phone like, yeah, I seen your house on, like, you don't want to do all that, okay? Go in there, sound like you know what you're talking about, and get that deal closed, all right? Let's see. And when you're talking to them and it's time to negotiate, I know a lot of times people, you know, some people don't like, you know, I have an issue with talking on the phone with people, especially strangers. You may get nervous or whatever. If you're that type of person, then, you know, go practice or do some role playing with someone that you're comfortable with until you are comfortable talking on the phone with people when you're trying to negotiate, all right? Another thing, in real estate investing or wholesaling, you gotta have some thick skin, because, you know, a lot of times people will hang up in your face and they'll curse you out. Me, if you hang up in my face, I'm gonna call you back and be like, hey, I think I lost signal, okay? And then you'll probably hang up in my face again, but it's okay. I'm gonna call you back, all right? If they curse you out, that's fine, all right? Just move on to the next, all right? Keep in mind that you're probably gonna get 100 no's before you get a yes, but that yes can be worth $35,000, all right? So that's fine. Just get used to hearing no, okay? Get used to the phone getting hung up in your face. Get used to somebody cursing you out, all right? It doesn't matter. Move on to the next deal until you can close it and make you some money, all right? Let's see. Okay, I think I covered the basics, all right? In my next video, I'm gonna go into detail and I'm gonna tell you tools to use to actually get in contact with the owners of these properties, all right? Now, okay, what I did skip though, you need to invest in a lead generating system, okay? And what I mean by that, you need some type of system that you use that you can log into that will give you information on properties, all right? So the system that I use is called PropStream. All right, now, I told you don't have to use any of your money with wholesaling, okay? But when you're trying to build something, then you have to invest in yourself somewhere, all right? Same thing as with the marketing, okay? You need to go buy you some business cards. You can get like 500 business cards for like $10 on Vistaprint. When you see those little signs that say we buy houses and stuff like that, you can probably get 100 signs for $50, all right? Something like that. But if you got to spend $50 on signs to get people to start calling you, and then that one phone call can lead to, you know, a $10,000 profit, all right, you do the math, okay? So with the lead generator system that I use, I do pay for it monthly. It's not that expensive, okay? And with that system, I can simply just go in there, I can type in the address, and it's gonna give me all the information on that property. It's gonna tell me how much the property is currently worth. It's gonna give me the comps on it. It's going to tell me if there's a mortgage on the house, if there are liens attached to the house, any transactions that has been made on the house, I'm gonna be able to see it on there, right? So it's very important that you do have something like that that you can work on. All right, it's many different other ones. It's not just PropStream, it's some more, but that's just the one that I first started using, okay? And it works well for me. All right, let's see. I think I covered the basics. I think I covered the basics of it. All right, so let me just give a quick recap, okay? I'm trying not to make this video too long. All right, so what is a wholesaler? Wholesaler is the middleman. You're connecting the seller with the buyer, all right, to get a property sold, all right? You want to use the 70% rule, meaning you don't want to pay more than 70% of the after repair value, the ARV of a house. You don't want to pay over 70%, all right? And then you want to subtract the repair costs from the say 100,000 times 0.7, all right? Subtract the repair costs, all right? That's going to give you your MAO, your maximum allowable offer, meaning that's the highest you're willing to go to buy a property, all right? That's your highest offer that you can make for that deal to still make sense to you, all right? Learn your market, analyze your market, all right? See where people are buying houses at, all right? Get a realtor on your team. Like I said, you don't have to, all right? You don't have to have a realtor. The deals I've closed, I did not use a realtor. I know a lot of people who swear by it. So whatever works for you. But yes, you can definitely get an extra real estate agent to try and help you get some deals. Keep in mind now, unless that's just like your friend or whatever, you may have to give them, you know, pay them for helping you or whatever the case may be, whatever y'all agree on. All right, a contractor, it's imperative, especially if you don't have a history or knowledge of construction or being able to estimate repair costs. Get a contractor to go to these properties with you to give you an estimate of how much things are gonna cost to be repaired, okay? That's gonna help you make your offers and all of that, and also let you know if that's gonna actually be a good deal, if it's gonna even be worth pursuing, okay? Like I said, join one of these real estate investor groups. Go to these meetings that they have and network. Hand out your business cards. create a cash buyers list. All right, you're gonna need these people when you have a house under contract and you're trying to get it sold. So go ahead and have a list built up that you can just go call them or send them an email and get these deals closed. All right. Let's see. And your title company. So like I said, make sure that the title company that you're trying to close with is actually wholesale investor friendly title company. A lot of them aren't, most of them aren't. So find you one that is. All right, how are you finding these properties? You're driving for dollars. You're driving around. You're looking for these houses that look abandoned, torn down, distressed properties. All right, you're driving around looking for those type of things. Pre-foreclosures. All right, like I said, you can do those. Just, you know, be sensitive to their situation. Let them know you're here to help them and not to hurt them. You're trying to help them save their credit. Let them know, you know, you're not here to embarrass them. You know, just keep those things in mind. For sale by owner, they probably don't want to work with a real estate agent because they don't want to pay those realtor fees, okay? So they would probably love to do business with you because you're not going to be charging them the extra fees that a real estate agent would be charging. Cold calling, you're just calling these people. Like I said, remain professional, know what you're talking about, build rapport, okay? Find common interests, be able to negotiate. Expect a whole lot of no's before you get a yes, okay? Don't be sad or get depressed, somebody hang up on you or curse you out, okay? Just move along, okay? And motivated sellers. Like I said, these people have properties here. They're just not being taken care of. They probably want to get rid of it, all right? Somebody left them a property they don't want. They want to get rid of it. Motivated sellers will equal discounted prices on these houses. I think that pretty much covers the basics of wholesaling. Also, like if some of you are like me, you think you need to know everything before you start something, you don't, okay? If I would have, so originally I started learning about real estate in 2015 when I was on deployment. One of my mentors, he's a real estate investor, okay? I started learning. Life happened, I kind of fell off of it. But earlier last year, I decided, you know what? I think I should try to get back into this. So I did. I started my company and I got to it, okay? You don't have to, you know everything before you can start, all right? With this video alone, you can close the deal, all right? If you follow the steps that I told you, you can go and you can close the deal next week if you wanted to, all right? So you don't have to know everything, but know enough. All right? When I started, so if you've been trying to learn real estate investing, you may have heard of Mark Whitten. He's a real estate investor. So and if you want to listen to him, he has an interview on the Breakfast Club. All right, his name is Mark Whitten. So I took one of his courses. It was like an 8-week course, and it's like $20 a month. Okay, like I said, you're not using your money to actually buy these properties. So use the money to invest in yourself to make yourself more knowledgeable on what you're doing. Okay, so I took his course. I learned so much. I also learned some things from his Instagram name is Ask Flipman. So he has a lot of videos on there as well, teaching you how to wholesale. All right, so I would watch those videos. I read a lot of books on it. Like, I did a lot of stuff because I thought I needed to know everything before I started, okay? But I know now that I just needed to know the basics, okay? And that's why I'm giving you this video of the basics on how to start wholesaling properties. All right, the next video we'll actually get into how to fix and flip these properties, and so on and so forth. So I hope this video was informative. I hope you learned something. I hope you got some good notes from it. Hope I didn't talk too fast. And if you have any questions, comments, please leave them below. Go ahead and share and like this video. Also, I do offer training and coaching as well. This video was free, but the training and coaching is not. So if you are interested in it, you can send me a message on here. We can get that set up. If you are in my city, we can do face-to-face training, or we can do virtual training with this whole pandemic thing going on. That's gonna be totally up to you. But yeah, like I said, I hope you learned something. I hope this video, you can go out there and close you a deal next week and make you some extra money. Or if you decide you wanna do this full time, a lot of people quit their jobs and just do this full time, okay? If you're good at it, if you're in a good market, this is a very lucrative sector, okay? So, just get to it. I hope you guys are successful if you decide to do this. And like I said, leave me comments and questions, and I will definitely get back to all of you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.